pumpkin bread, pumpkin cookies, pumpkin pancake mix, and then there's the big daddy of them all, the PSL, the pumpkin spice latte, the quintessential symbol of fall ushering in, and the time has come. I have to go get my first one.
Hi, can I get a pumpkin spice latte? It's the first of the season. I'm excited. Yeah, I know.
Yep, I just got my first PSL of the year. I was sitting in Barnes & Noble, minding my own business, taking a sip, and my hand started shaking. Everything started to tingle. And then, once I came to, there it was in all its glory, the absolute perfect complement to this joyous occasion, harvest. I take another sip to ponder more, and while I wrestle with the demons, and that is a story of how harvest infiltrated my house. I don't know how it got into the house. I don't know if my wife hit me over the head and bought it, shoved me in the car, and set it up in front of me. I have no idea, but I know it's here. I know it's cute. But the big question is it good? And harvest to me is actually a lot like this pumpkin spice latte. Stay with me here just 1 second. Let the concept breathe a little bit. Give me a little creative license. I'm sure it'll make sense. Maybe. I don't know. But we're going to run with it. So pumpkin spice lattes are delicious, right? But they start with a really basic run-of-the-mill ingredient, milk. It's the base. It's what makes up the majority of the drink. It's rather boring relative to the other things that are in here, but it's necessary. And with harvest, much the same like milk, there is a basic, well, some could say boring but necessary foundation that the game is built upon. And really, it's the basic rules. This is a worker placement game. You place your cute little wheelbarrows, by the way, all around the board and do stuff. There's probably not a more basic way to experience worker placement than with harvest. Start off by going to the general store. Pretty basic. You can buy poop, you can fill up your water bucket, or buy a multitude of seeds. The seeds have a hierarchy of sorts, with wheat being the least valuable and pumpkins being the most valuable, with strawberries and blueberry bushes in between. Maybe you want to go over to the workshop and upgrade that bucket to be a little bit bigger to hold some more water. Maybe you need to clear your board of the forest tiles in order to be able to plant more crops. Or maybe you have too much space and you need to fill that with very valuable buildings. Not only do all of them give you in-game points, some of them give you bonuses to work towards, and others give you immediate, very powerful effects that will help you rocket past your competitors. Or maybe you just want to go into the fields and plant your seeds. You can plant your seeds with poop, of course. Every seed takes a different amount of poop, with wheat being 0 at the least and pumpkins being 4 pieces of poop at the most. You can also tend those crops and water them. Watering crops aren't a requirement like in real life, but if you want them to multiply, you tend them by spending the water. In order to water or tend your wheat, you have to spend 1 water droplet. And if you want to multiply those pumpkins, you have to spend 3. Lastly, you can go into the fields and harvest. Harvest is how you get coins. You get a coin per type of crop that you're harvesting, and then you get variable points depending on the value of the crop. Obviously, you're spending a lot of poop and water to plant and tend those pumpkins, so they are the absolute most at 6 points. Maybe you really want to go to the workshop because you need to upgrade your bucket and you need to clear your fields. And by the way, you can also roll this bonus die and take the bonus every single time. And you can also go and buy that incredible building. And getting to that top space allows you to do all 3 of them. As long as you have enough money to do it, that turn feels like such a boon. And if you have to go to that lower spot, you do get a consolation prize of a couple of nuts. But let's be real, you'd rather upgrade that bucket, clear that forest, roll that special die, and also put a building there. That just feels great. And anytime you have to put a wheelbarrow in that low spot, it kind of feels like a loss. Or maybe you like the exotic, the highly efficient spots in the farmer's market. Those are rotating each and every round. They have a variable cost to actually go to them, but they are extremely powerful and efficient, and something you definitely want to look at every single round. Or if you're incredibly inefficient and you really just need that one last thing, go to the trading post and spend way too much water, poop, or seeds to get something else done before the end of the round. This core seems incredibly basic, right? Like you buy seeds, you plant them, you water them to multiply them, and you harvest them. You kind of rinse and repeat that over 4 rounds, and the person with the most points at the end of the game wins. You mostly get your points from that harvest, but like I said, the buildings give you points, and the really special blueberry bushes also give you 2 points per bush by the end of the game. On the surface, that milk in the bottom of the cup before I put anything else in probably seems pretty basic. And I think that's kind of the beauty here. But that milk starts to get interesting once I pour a shot or 2 of espresso in there. And that espresso, that thing that gives this game a jolt, if you will, follow me, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get, this thing is a pumpkin spice latte, I promise. The thing that gives this game its crunch, or the friction, or the tension, it's scarcity in those spots. And that happens in basically every worker placement game that has ever been created. But here it seems so much more important to go grab the spot that you want. I mean, just take the fields, for example. If you go to that bottom spot, yeah, you get a bonus of some poop or some water, but you can only do 1 of those things. But you go right above that and you can do 2. If you go to that 3rd spot and pay the cost of coins equal to the round number, you get to do all 3. That's important because if you have a bunch of seeds and you have space on your board, you can plant them. Granted, you have enough poop. You can tend them, granted, if you have enough water, and you can harvest them all in that one turn. So imagine a scenario where you, on your board, you had 1 of each. You had a wheat, you had a strawberry, you had a blueberry bush, and you had a pumpkin. For 6 poop, you can plant all of those. For 7 water, you can tend all of them, and then you can harvest all of them. So when you tend the pumpkins, it turns into 2 pumpkins, or it goes from 6 to 12 points. When you tend to the blueberries, it adds blueberries to your bush and goes from 0 to 4 points. When you tend the strawberries, it goes from 1 to 3 strawberries, so 1 to 3 points. And when you tend the wheat, the lowly wheat, you go from 1 wheat to 2 wheat. That right there can be a 20-point placement of your wheelbarrow if you get that top spot. That is so incredibly powerful. 20 points in this game is a ton of points. Getting past 50 seems sort of like a benchmark here based upon my plays. So that really big turn where you're able to get to that spot, you saved up the poop in the water, and you get all of those points. And mind you, you also just got 4 coins to maybe go buy that awesome building. It feels wonderful. On the flip side of that, if somebody steals that from you, you can only do 2. And maybe you're thinking, well, I have to get them planted. Do I plant and tend them? Maybe not. Maybe I plant and harvest, but I don't get the full efficiency of the turn by tending them and multiplying them. But I really need the money, and I need it right now because I need to go buy that really powerful building that's sitting over there. That tension carries over to the general store where you can buy 1 to 3 of the things essentially. The difference between 1 berry and 3 different seeds is a big deal. It also can mean the difference of filling your bucket completely and having enough water to tend on that next turn. It's huge. And then the farmer's market. The farmer's market are the most special spaces on the entire board. They're something that are highly coveted. Only 1 worker can go there, and they can be completely game changing. So now we have milk and espresso. That tastes like poop. So we have to add in the pumpkin spice syrup. Yes, that delicious, sugary fall, seasonal fall deliciousness. That is the flavor that brings all of it together. And in this instance, it is the aesthetic and theme. I don't talk about aesthetic and theme all that often, but in this case, I think it has really added to my enjoyment of this game. The youthful art and the fantastic Mr. Fox-esque characters might lead you to believe that this is a kid's game. While I do think certain kids can play this game, I think it can be a pretty complex puzzle. I'm certainly not calling this game heavy by any stretch of the imagination, but it's really bordering the line between light and medium, and it's getting to the point in which I can introduce this to absolutely anybody, but actually still have fun. I don't know about you, but once you kind of get to a certain place in the hobby, there's just certain designs that just don't do it for you. They don't kind of tickle your brain like they used to. And the packaging that this comes in with the incredibly vibrant and beautiful art and highly thematic application by having this player board that has fields you have to clear and this little polyomino puzzle that you're doing and rinsing and repeating as you plant, tend, and harvest over and over and over. It's just a perfect little package. And then, of course, there's the whipped cream. I don't know, when they ask you for whipped cream, do you say yes? And if you said yes, you're gonna like this too. It's asymmetry. This farm sim could have stopped at just this nice little worker placement, fun little puzzle, efficiency puzzle, cool little buildings that you can place, but then it adds these character abilities that will actually change the way you play in a really significant way. It adds no rules overhead whatsoever, just lets you do more and lets you play your own game and not playing the same exact game as the person next to you. Some of my favorites are Floyd the Beaver. You know, Floyd the Beaver is really simple. You just don't have to pay the cost of the building. That is huge. There's a lot of little costs hidden around. Like I said, if you want to do the 3 things in the fields, you have to pay coins, or I guess they're nuts, equal to the round. That can be pretty darn expensive. And some of those buildings out there are incredibly juicy, especially the ones that give you stuff immediately. They can spur to this combo of a turn that turns into something that feels really good. Then there's Penny the Pig. You just get poop discount every time you plant seeds. That's great. Poop is hard to come by. So having that bonus and giving you essentially 1 extra poop every time you go to plant something is huge. Maybe you're a Mick the Badger type of guy and you just want to do more stuff in the field. Well, good news. Anytime you take a field action, you get to do another one. That is actually almost broken, to be honest with you. I love playing with him. One of my absolute favorites is Jamie the Bunny, which essentially gives you a 4th wheelbarrow and is also feels busted and broken. And I think that's the good thing with all of these asymmetric characters. They kind of do feel broken if you use them the right way. And that is, for me, what makes games feel fun, especially if it's still balanced on the other side and the other player knows how to use their character. They're doing stuff that benefits them. You're doing stuff that benefits you. You're not playing the same exact game each and every time. And that's been really refreshing on a game that appears light and just has, I don't know, just enough friction, I guess. That's not the only asymmetrical whipped cream. There's also little sunrise tiles. See, there's a sunrise phase at the beginning of each and every round, and you just get to do the thing. Every time that sunrise comes along, you get to do it. I'm not going to go through all of them, but my favorite one, the one in which I pick every time I have the chance to, is either get to poop or fill your bucket. Both of those feel great. On top of that, there still is more asymmetry. You get these round tiles that have a turn order on them. And at the end of each and every round, at the beginning of that sunrise phase, you're turning in your current tile and selecting a new one. This is essentially giving you the next turn order, and the best things have the highest number, which means you'll likely be last in order. But that trade-off is getting some really juicy bonuses. All of them come with a nut income, of course. And then there's also just great bonuses that might really be the fuel you need in that particular turn to really help you pop off and get a ton of points. Suffice it to say, that milk combined with that espresso, combined with that sugary, delicious pumpkin spice syrup, whatever the heck is in that, and then adding that asymmetrical whipped cream on top, just kind of creates, I don't know, this perfect little experience that certainly isn't seasonal, but if enjoyed with a nice pumpkin spice latte, definitely feels like you're just in the right place at the right time. Now, if you are a hardcore Euro gamer, this is probably not the game for you. But if you really appreciate theme and aesthetic, and this happens to kind of trigger that for you, you might want to give it a try. If you're trying to get other people to the table, this is the perfect little bait. This is the carrot to somebody that doesn't typically play board game, but appreciates aesthetic themselves. This might be the thing that gets there. And guess what? You're not going to be bored out of your mind having to play it. And at the same time, you're introducing them to worker placement, resource management, a little polyomino puzzle. There's also a little bit of take that in there, and maybe looking at your neighbor and seeing what they need to take and taking that spot when you're in front of them. There's just a lot to like about this game. If you're on the fence, I highly recommend going on BGA right this second and playing it. It's in its beta version right now. I've found there's a couple little bugs in there, but it is more than capable in telling you if this is the right game for you, or maybe this might be the right game for you to get somebody else into the hobby. And at the end of the day, every game doesn't have to be a Lacerda. Every game doesn't have to be the most brilliant thing in the world. I think little packages like this that ride that line of frankly almost perfect complexity that helps you get somebody else to the table while also still having enjoyment yourself. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna probably play this way more than some of my other beloved games that I don't have anyone to play with. And for me, I mean, does that beg the question, like, is something like this in my collection more valuable than maybe even a Voidfall that nobody will play with me? I won't go that far, but for now, as fall ascends and I'm sipping on my pumpkin spice latte, I think it just works. And with all of that said, if you want to find ways to support me, go check the link down in the description or hit the join button, watch the video. If you choose to support me and join the Cardboard Club, you will get a member exclusive video. Right now, there is already one up. The Discord has already voted. Endless Winter will be featured in the next episode of the Board Game Super Secret Show. On top of other things, there's also some behind the scenes looks in the Discord that you get access to. We're having fun. We're getting to know each other. We're playing games on BGA, and I'd love to have you join us. But if that's not in your budget or you don't want to do it, it's all good. I appreciate you making it here. Maybe give a like, comment, whatever it might be. I'd love to know what you think about this game if you've played it or if you're interested now. Now, with all that said, have a great day.